You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts Uncle Mike Tusaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Mark the Greasy Meatball Sebastian and Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means it is Monday. It is time to commence operations here on our broadcast week. Going to be an interesting one, listeners. Shortly after we turn off the mics for the shows today, I am hopping on a plane and heading back down to the Southern studio. Not for my own fun. Well, maybe a little bit I'll have some fun there because it's always fun to catch up with everybody from the world of options. But no, it's that time, listeners. It's time for the annual OIC, the Options Industry Conference. I get to catch up with all of the movers and shakers from the world of options. Always a great time. And all of it comes to you folks over there on the network and the folks who are hanging out in the pro. Guess what? You get first dibs on all of it. Head on over to the pro. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get all that early access, to get live streams, get giveaways. Spoiler alert, we're going to give away something cool in a little bit. And then, of course, options oddities, pro Q&As, a whole bunch of more. This week, it's like you get those times 10 because you're getting a bunch of stuff coming at you this week from OIC. So stay tuned to all that. The Southern studio will be open again in high style this week. Remember, theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to learn more about it as we learn who's joining us on the old Monday edition of the program. I mentioned on Friday, it was the end of an era on our network. We have recorded nigh on all of our content here on the network since the primordial ooze days, going back 18 years on Skype. Skype, if you know, kind of going the way of the dodo, listener. So we're messing around a bit behind the scenes, forcing Uncle Mike out of his comfort zone. Nonetheless, he made it. We are joined once again by the uncleest of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike Tusaw from St. Charles Wealth Management. Uncle Mike, how you doing on this fine Monday as we enter into this brave new world of technology, sir?
Yeah, I mean, this is scary stuff, man. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but for our listeners, I will make it happen.
All right. You know who's not making it happen is the Rock Lobster. Couldn't handle it. Couldn't make all the bells and whistles work. So you know what, listeners? That means Uncle Mike is unopposed as we head on into our 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. All right, there we go. Getting the music going, getting everything working behind the scenes. Always a fun time, listeners. Let me now draw our weapon, our card for this week, listeners. Yes, you know, he even requested that we do this for the session, that we change the contest to meet his needs because he was getting whooped in the other way. So we went out and procured a vintage 80s blue box set of Trivial Pursuit just for him. What does he do? He misses it out. Well, that means Uncle Mike, he gets to choose our color for today. He would have anyway, because he is losing. Mr. Uncle Mike, so this could be your chance to dig yourself out of the hole. What color are you feeling today, sir?
Well, today is Triple Point Monday, though, right?
It's quadruple point money. Kidding me? Quintuple point.
Oh, the listeners heard it. Quadruple Point Monday. Let's go with sports and leisure.
You're going to keep tilting at that windmill till you get it right. All right, here we go, Uncle Mike. Get ready. Sports and leisure. Orange, listeners, if you're playing along at home. How many feet apart are the stakes in men's horseshoe pitching?
Gosh. I'll go with 25.
Not a bad guess, but actually, I guess you're playing horseshoes for smaller folks. No, it's 40 feet, sir. That seems pretty far.
Well, I think I should get it right because close counts in horseshoes, right? And horseshoes and hand grenades, so I should get points for that.
Even that wasn't that close. But tell you what I will do, since you made it here today, and we established last week that if no one gets the main question, I get to choose a category. For a half point, and I think this is a fun one, Uncle Mac. I think you will like this. So we are going to we're going to pink. And if you don't get this one right, our audience may rebel. I'm just letting you know. All right. Pink. Okay. Uncle Mike, are you ready? Who is Luke Skywalker's father?
Well, there's two answers we could go with. I'll say I'm going to give you both of them. Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader.
That's good, because if you went with Anakin, technically in the 80s, people behind the scenes knew about Anakin, but he wasn't established yet as a character as he was in the prequels and, of course, Clone Wars and everything else. So, good call. Going with Darth Vader. Yes, that was a good one. I figured you had to get that one. I saw that on the card, Uncle Mike, and that just brought a smile on to my face. So I point for Uncle Mike for Darth Vader. When do you think you get a Darth Vader question? I think these questions came out early in the 80s, too. So it was after Empire. So that was a well-known thing. I'm not sure if these would come out after Jedi, and I'll have to go check the...
Yeah, because Jedi is when Anakin Skywalker came about, wasn't it? When that was said?
When his name was... I think his name was known in, novel... People who were hardcore knew that stuff before. But yeah, I think maybe in the... I don't know. Do they actually say Anakin in Return of the Jedi? As he's dying, it says... Let me look up.
I think it does.
With my own eyes. That's my James Earl Jones impersonation for the day. But Uncle Mike, you get a bonus point because the Rock Lobster isn't here. All right, bonus benefit. Are you ready, sir? I'm gonna keep the
I'm ready.
I'm gonna keep the trivia music going just because it's fun and kind of soothing. All right. It's that time, listeners. It is May 5th. Time to give away the winner of our Pro Trading Crate for the month of April. Uncle Mike, the random number generator is flickering on my desk as we speak. It's kind of distracting, actually. My eye is drawn toward it, but I will look away. Uncle Mike, tell me when to stop, and I will tell you who you have selected for the month of May, sir.
Not yet. No.
Bam, look at that. Reflexes like a cat. Who did you pick? All right, who is that? That number is, it's the guy who always gets me hungry for a little bit of tropical fruit whenever I see his questions. It's the Mango Lover 75.
Ooh.
Congratulate Uncle Mike. Whenever I see his questions come in our Pro Q&As, I always want a mango. I always go shopping for mangoes after. I had forgotten about mangoes, but he kind of brought them back to my attention, and I do have to admit, they are a tasty, delicious treat. So Mango Lover, thanks for bringing me back into the world of mangoes, and congratulations to you. You are the winner of our April Pro Trading Crate. Our producers will be in touch post-haste. Good stuff is coming your way. Trust me, I see some of it here, and it's pretty cool. I kind of regret that we're sending it out, but nonetheless, it goes to you, sir, as we keep on going right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, everybody, let's do this. Let's get down to business. And it's a weird bit of business to kick off the week. You know what? As it usually is these days, seems like they're all kind of weird. I guess with the exception of the last week and change when we were really mostly upside biased. That's the longest, 9-day stretch of upside, the best 9-day stretch of upside in the S&P. And how long? Quite a while out there, listeners. Quite a run out there. Today, we started off the session dipping lower in the S&P. And then we started getting the bit in our teeth again. And then as we're coming into the start of the show right now, we're off a bit as well, off about 1/3%. So nothing really to write home about on the dark side. NASDAQ off a similar percentage. And the Dow actually up about 0.2%. So that puts us officially mixed on the day. And you know what? Let us not discriminate out there. Let's include all the major indices. Let's go out to small caps. They're also off about a third of a point today. So most of the market off about a quarter to a third. And then the Dow bucking the trend up about 0.2%. But you're going to see that kind of weird and wild stuff when we're in the height of earnings season and also when we're all living tweet by tweet out of the administration. What is it all back into from a numbers perspective? Well, on our old pal VIX Cash listeners, he's hanging out at a 23 even. That puts him down a little over a point, about 1.25 points from where he was this time last week. And our old pal VVIX, the vol of vol itself, at about a par, 100 even. That puts it down about 6 points from where it was on the last show. So vol of vol coming back down from the roughly 125 level it got to not too long, even briefly north of that, obviously. Back to 100, so still something you want to keep attention to out there. Keep an eye on out there as we're watching these wild and whipsawy markets. And it looks like we're starting to trend a little bit darker. We'll see if that continues. Are we going to end the day all red? Or is that just another head fake? You never know out here in these markets. But I do know that Uncle Mike is here for it. He is proud. He is basking in the glow of a half-point victory. He'll take all the points he can get. Mr. Uncle Mike, if you have any other enduring memories of one Darth Vader, have at it. I won't ask you about horseshoes unless you have horseshoe memories. And then B, what's catching your eye in a Uncle Mike type of day if you're hanging out in the Dow, at least for right now?
Yeah, I can't say I have any horseshoe memories. I know the saying close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I do feel that since I was within above the halfway mark, if you were to round it to between 40 or 0, I was close enough to actually get at my answer. So I do feel I should have gotten 1.5 points today. Combine that with the fact that it is quadruple point Monday and the fact that Andrew Giovinazzi just blew us off today. You should really just call it for me for the year. So, but besides that, in terms of memories of Darth Vader, I guess pretty much everyone our age growing up, everyone always knew who he was. Everyone talked about him on the playground. That's one of the most iconic lines, I would say, in movie history. Luke, I am your father. Yeah, I guess I do wish they would have brought him back for some of the later movies in 7, 8, 9 somehow with flashbacks or something like that. But who am I to tell them how to write Star Wars? They seem to do it. They seem to make pretty good money themselves doing it. So who am I? But with that, who am I with this market? Well, I'm a market participant, and the markets have been going up again lately. They're down slightly today, just looking at the S&P down 16 points. We are getting a little bit of selling going on in the bond market as well. So overall, we're flat on the day. I mean, we're down 16 points. In the S&P, we're getting a little bit of downward movement. I think the market's kind of catching their breath from the run-up with which we have had recently over the last few days. It's just been going up to the high heavens, that's for sure. Microsoft continues to be strong. Microsoft was weak, but now it is strong. Someone gave Microsoft a football halftime pep talk right before earnings announcements saying, the buyers out there think you're weak. But I know you are strong. They think you are a sell, but I know you're a buy. That's what someone went and told Microsoft, and Microsoft went up apparently. So we have that going on. In terms of some other tech names that appear to be somewhat back from the dead, Taiwan Semiconductor is one that I watch. That one, it's down a couple bucks today, but it has been rallying recently. Apple, just as we're speaking, or just as the show came out, it looks like it's back above the 200 mark. It was below it for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see how Apple reacts to this new back to normal, if we are normal, but don't know if what normal is going forward market with which we're in. And then just a couple other names with which to look at that I'm following that tend to be market movers. Tesla, Elon's not having a good day at Tesla, down 2.5%. Netflix has been up quite a bit later, has had a nice little run lately, but that's down about 1.5% on the day. So a lot of the big movers and the stocks that have been the ones that have moved to this market, not a ton of movement on the day today, so a whole lot of not a ton going on as of yet. We do have gold up 2.5% on the day, so we do have that, but we're flat for now, but I don't think that's going to stay that way.
And these markets, they tend not to stay that way for very long out here, listeners. Let's see what's going on in these markets, shall we? Let's kick things off in the land of all things vol options. Yes, the big dog, Mr. VIX. Is Mr. VIX looking awake, or is he looking sleepy and kind of cautiously peering out of the bed? The answer is kind of yeah to that. He's north of 250,000 contracts, but just barely. 284 on the tape right now. 1.05 million is the ADV. That remains stubbornly robust, despite the fact that we haven't hit it in a little while out there. So kind of interesting in VIX land. What is the big dog out there? 284 on the tape in VIX land today. It's 20,000 of the AUG 25s, followed by 20,000 as well of the AUG 25 puts. So either we have a straddle or a bit of a synthetic going on out there. I think they went pretty close to the offer on both. Now, when you have two legs like that, could gum up the execution out there. But in general, we have a VIX combo / synthetic on the AUG 25 strike. If you're wondering, listeners, 25 puts traded for 552, 25 calls traded for 287. So you like that, listeners? 839 for that straddle out there, listeners. Would you buy that AUG 25? I guess given where we've been of late, it's not the wildest trade we've seen. I don't know, Uncle Mike, gun to your head. August 25 straddle in VIX for $8.39. Which way you going, sir?
I gotta be a buyer in this market. I don't want to. Yeah, I gotta be a buyer. If there's a gun to my head, we're going to August. I mean, there's 100% buyer.
We can move that much by the end of this week or the end of this session.
Yeah.
Things have been wild. We've seen some wild intraday swings in VIX. Just listen to our buddy, Mr. VIXologist, who sent some great data on vol views, which our buddy Dr. VIX hotly, vehemently disputed. Getting into a little bit of a vol fight, those two, which is always kind of fun for you, the listeners. So check out that episode if you missed it. As we keep on rolling out to the land of SPY, listeners. Is SPY looking hot? Is SPY looking spicy out there today? The answer is it's respectable, 5 million. But then again, now this would have been back when the ADV was 8 million. 5 million is, man, that's hot. We're already well past halfway to our ADV. Right now, the ADV is 11.2 million. So not quite halfway there yet, which is kind of interesting out there. Let's do our quick analysis just to see. Yes, we are. Oh, no, I take it back. The bottom of our list, number 20, has the temerity to expire tomorrow. Those are the 565 calls expiring tomorrow. 48,000 of those bad boys trading. The big dog out there in SPY, listeners, 398,000 of the 565 calls expiring today. So 565 kicks off and it ends our list. It bookmarks it. Kind of interesting. Nearly 400,000 of those bad boys. That also makes sense. It's kind of the at the money strike right now in SPY. So it makes sense that's leading the dance. 5 million right now in SPY. Let's go out to the S. 1.75 million contracts. Again, that was a hot amount not that long ago. Now we kind of expect that. In fact, it might be a little light when the ADV is closing in on 4 million, about 3.75 million out there. The S, let's do that same analysis, listeners. All right, SPX right now, we've got, yes, 20 for 20. All going the way of the dodo today. The big dog, about 57,000 of the 5,700 calls. We're at 5667 right now in the SPX. Let's just look really quickly. What's the apex for those bad boys? How much would you spend, listeners, for a now only few hours to go 5,700 call expiring today? Looks like they traded for 260 at one point, 258. Yeah, 250, $2, $1.80, all the way down, obviously, but it's like 250, 260 was the apex out there. Interesting stuff. Would you be paying that for a 5,700 call? Again, we could blow through that. Or is that a little bit too rich for your blood for a 1 day, now just a few hours to go option? Either way, the S, 1.75 million. Small caps, 567,000 contracts on the tape today. So looking decidedly light. The ADV, 1.75 million. So got a long way to go to hit that. Just for fun, let's do the same analysis in small caps, even though I think we know the answer to this one. Certainly you do if you've been listening to this show for a while. We got quite a few not popping off today. We got 1, we've got some December, that's 3. We've got 4 later on in May, 5, 6. We got 7 of our top 20 right now, listeners, not expiring today. So small caps, as they tend to do, march to the beat of their own drummer. They're not all 0 day all the time. They got a nice little smattering of expirations, including all the way out to December. Are you down for the Dees 190 puts and the 230 calls, trading about 7,000 times each? Looks like it might be a collar. I'll have to go look for prices. But interesting out there. You like that? 190, 230? We're at about 200 almost exactly in small caps right now. So 190, 230 collar, if that was the case. Not the craziest level out there. Now I'm intrigued. Listen, I wanted to just see. Let's see what those 190 puts were trading for. They traded for $10.32, and the 230s traded for $5.14. So it does look like a collar. So obviously they're paying a little over $5 for the 190 put. I don't know, Uncle Mike, I know you like a good collar. I don't know if you like a good collar in small caps. I mean, you're going all the way out to D, so you're buying yourself some time, paying roughly $5 and change for the Dees 190, 230 collar in small caps. Do you like that? Is that too much of an outlay? Is that not giving you enough upside? What are your thoughts?
I mean, maybe. That would be a maybe one. I mean, I kind of tend to stay away from small caps for the most part. I think that one night, yeah, I'd probably take less upside. And actually, if I were to do that one, I would probably add a short put to the put side of it and make it a knockout collar if I'm flying that close to the sun, if you will.
You're going big or you're going home, says Uncle Mike. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that out there. Interesting stuff. I know you like long-term collars in silver and metals. Do you like long-term collars in equities, or is December too far out for you?
No, I do like it. I think there's definitely a place for it. I think it's a spot to where you can do a lot of things with it if the market gives you what you want. And if you do get to the point to where, and I have not gotten there yet with some of my longer term equity collars this year, but what I was looking to do, and it didn't happen. It came close, but let's say you have a long-term collar on an equity and markets tank like they did a month ago and VIX spikes like it did a month ago, then what you can do if you're willing to buy back the covered call side of it, you can sell a short put and create a very wide legged-in put spread to where you have a ton of protection. You'll still give up some protection, so you'll give up the catastrophic protection, but the VIX spike can enable you to do that shift where you have just a ton of protection, and then you have all your upside. So I like them, and about once a year, you might get lucky like we almost did a month ago. So I'm a fan.
Are you a fan, listeners? You like those levels? Dees 190, 230 for roughly $5 in small caps. Would you be doing some put kickers against it? Like, Uncle Mike, is that too far out for you? Are you not a small cap fan? I'm curious. Hit us up. Let us know. Might be a fun little flash poll / question of the week. But let's get out to that a little bit later as we keep going out to the Qs right now. Qs also looking comparatively quiet right now. 2.25 million. This used to be about exactly where we expected them to be. These days, when the ADV is almost 5 million, we expect a little more. We know the Qs tend to be morning heavy. They'll put up, 3, 3.25, 3.5 million in the first half of the session. They kind of linger a little bit later on in the day. So far today, they're looking kind of like 2.25 million on the tape in the Qs. The ADV 4.86. And guess what? Lest anyone accuse me of being unfair to all major indices, let's do the same analysis, listeners. I spy with my little eye 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 contracts that have the gall to not expire today in the Qs. The big dog in the Qs today, 137,000 of the 487 calls. Again, that is the at the money strike, so no surprise there. If you're wondering what some of the non-expiring today contracts are, we have the 465 puts, the regular monthlies in May going up 26,000 times today. We have the June 465 puts going up 21,000 times today, and the June 465 calls. So maybe you got some straddle or more likely synthetic action going up here 21,000 times for each of those as well. And also the 491s are expiring today. Yeah, interesting stuff afoot out here. In the queues, is it also interesting? In the top 10 most active out here, listeners, the answer is it's one of those days, listeners. One of those shrug your shoulders kind of days. Cost you 208,000 contracts to break into the top 10. Let me re-rack that right now, just in case we had an explosion of paper in the last few minutes that carried us to a more impressive number. The answer is no, listeners. That number, as of right now, is now up to a whopping 212. So there you go, listeners. That gets us all the way to Mara. If you can't contain your crypto enthusiasm, you only have to contain it for about a half an hour longer, listeners. I will be coming back immediately after this show to do the old crypto rundown out there, listeners, because right after these shows are done, I have to hop on a plane to the Southern Studio. So crypto rundown, if you're hanging out in the pro, no wait for you folks. No rest for the wicked for me. Right into the crypto rundown after this show. Mara right now, 13.20, off about $1.25, nearly 9%. So Uncle Mike, he's excited to see a crypto name turning to the dark side. You know, we talked for a while about Mara kind of languishing between this 15 to 30 range. It bounced off both legs multiple times throughout most of the year. Finally, by the beginning of this year, February, it seems like it finally broke that to the downside, got to about a 12.5 level in February before rallying, and then selling off again back in April. Got to actually, it's like about 10.5 and even maybe 981 intraday. So well below that low, now back up to, actually got up to 14.5 recently before coming back down to 13.25 today. Number 10, long way around to getting to Mara, listeners. Number 9, it's Hims. I know some of our pro members have been talking about trading a little bit of Hims out there. I haven't delved into those waters myself. Are you slinging a little bit of Hims out there, listeners? Or you prefer a hers? Either way, Hims right now, 41.87, up $1 or about 2.5%. I believe they just appointed a new CFO or COO. I believe they came from Amazon. They ran the Amazon pharmaceutical business out there. So might have some experience in online pharmaceutical action. Either way, Hims right now, $42. They've had a good year, though. A year ago, they were 11.65, so a nice little run for them. They got up to 68.75. Actually, looks like intraday they got up to about almost 73 on February 19th. So they have a long way to go to get back to that level. But they've also rallied nicely since April 22nd when they got down to $25. So they're up $17 from there. Still off $26 from their highs, though. So are you out there slinging Hims? It seems like some folks are. Let's just look really quickly. I have a feeling with this kind of paper, listeners, and this kind of name, it usually tends to be a lot of near-dated upside. Let's see if that's the case. And, wow. This is pre-earnings, I should point out. They have earnings after the bell today. It's like somebody taking a big swing. We got 11,000 of the 50 calls, 50, so almost exactly $8 out of the money. These expire this week, listeners, so not end of month or June or July or December, anything like that. May 50s, including a block of 1,000 trading for $1.60 this morning. Interesting. That might have to be a fun little flash poll out there as well. Would you be a buyer or a seller of those bad boys for $1.60 on these May calls? May 50s, expiring this Friday, $1.60, 1,000 times. Are you a buyer or a seller heading into earnings? An interesting one out there, listeners. I probably would not be buying those bad boys, but then again, I don't get lured to the dark side of these crazy meme trades very often. Of course, if you got some underlying, you sold that against it, or you legged into a spread. If you could sell the 50s expiring this week for $1.60, I think you let the stock go roughly $8 higher, plus $1.60 on top of it. Not a bad do, as the kids say. Either way, those have traded nearly 11,000 times. Man, Hims. I knew it was some upside. I didn't realize they had earnings after the bell today, so that changes the frame of reference a little bit, but still. Weekly 50s. That's got to get out of bed pretty fast. Number 9, Hims, 222 on the tape. Number 8, the artist formerly known as Facebook. It's Meta. Back north of 600, 601 to be precise, up about $4 today, or about 0.2%. Good for number 8, 235. Number 7, going out to the land of chips. It's AMD, as the cool kids call it, AMDA. 101.5 up 2 3/4. I'm just kidding. No one calls it that but me, listener. So don't follow me down that rabbit hole of madness. Your friends are looking at you. Why do you call it AMDA? 101.5 up 2 3/4 or nearly 3% today for AMD. Still off 19 handles exactly, or about 16% year to date, even though it has rebounded from its low of $83.64 this year. So, interesting run, but obviously the high was this so far year to date was about 130. So ways to go from that as well. Number 7, AMD, 263 on the tape. Number 6, the Monster. Is it getting more monstrous or is it getting a little bit smaller? The answer is the latter, 381. A lot smaller, off $13 and a third or so today, or about 3% for the Monster out there. Again, tiptoeing into crypto waters. Number 6, the Monster. 311 on the tape. Uncle Mike, cover your ears. This must be painful to hear all these crypto-related names. Joining in the sell-off party, number 5, it's the Amazonians, 321 on the tape, 187.40 for the trading right now, off about $2.40 or about 1.25%. A same deal year to date, they're still off about 15% or about 32.5 handles, even though they have rebounded from their low so far this year of about, looks like 167. So about exactly 20 handles north of that, but their high for the year looks like it was around 242, so they got a ways to go to get back there. Number 5, the Amazonians, 321. Number 4, Palantir. If you don't like where it is, just wait 5 minutes. Wait 5 seconds in this name. 123.85, off about half a buck. So literally a rounding error for them today. Good for number 4. 601 on the tape in Palantir. I haven't done this in a while. Let's go see really quickly. What is the big dog out there in Palantir today? It's 28,000 of the 95 puts expiring this week. I have a feeling somebody's probably overriding those, but let's go see. Do they have earnings? They have earnings after the bell today as well, so probably getting a fair amount of juice for those 95 puts. Let's go see. 75 cents. Interesting. You like that, listeners? Could be another fun. We got so many potential flash polls out there. Head of earnings, Palantir May 95 puts expiring this week for 75 cents. Would you be a buyer or a seller? I have a feeling I know which way most of you folks would go. I'm curious. Hit us up. Let us know. Number 4, Palantir, 601 on the tape. Out to the land of Uncle Mike's beloved fruit company, hanging out pretty much exactly at the par strike, off about $5, $200.38 to be precise, but still flirting with that par strike. Looks like we broke it again today. Got down to 198.21. That's important because we asked you not that long ago, would you sell that Dees 200 put for $18 or buy it? Most of you lined up on selling, at least the majority of you, but it actually was. It was more contentious early on than I thought. Then you ended up leaning towards the sales side. We're hanging back at that strike right now, listeners. Does that change your analysis? Number 3, the fruit company, 747 on the tape. Number 2, NVIDIA, 113.94, off about half a buck today. Some big article now. NVIDIA could slip back below $77 a share. All kinds of madness out there, listeners. Let's see. When is NVIDIA's earnings? They're the 28th. So we got a ways to go until the quote-unquote king of the earnings season announces their numbers. Number 2 today. That's interesting. 1.07. That's very light for NVIDIA. It puts up 1 million contracts without even getting out of bed in the morning. So 1.07 is very light for NVIDIA. Number 2. That means number 1 back to its throne, if ever so briefly. It's Tesla. 1.28 million, 280 and a half right now today, off about 670 or so on the day, or about 2.5%, listeners. You know the deal for Tesla. You don't need me to break it down. Still off about 26%, or about 100 handles on the year. And obviously from its high of around 428, off a lot more than that. Tesla, 1.28 million on the day. Earnings season. We got some hot ones popping off this week. Palantir, like I mentioned today. Hims today as well. And then Brian Overby's favorite, Ford. Everyone's favorite dumpster fire. I'm out of Ford, at least for right now. My aggressive overwriting finally called me away in that dumpster fire of a name. Will I sell puts to get back in? Probably not, unless they're paying me a boatload to get back in. Tuesday, listeners. Marriott, ADM, and AMD. So if you like both of your A acronyms, got them popping off tomorrow. As well as Rivian. I will say anecdotally, I'm seeing a lot more Rivians on the streets of Chicago than I ever have before. Whether that's just backlash against Tesla, whether that's they're just having a resurgence, whether that's just a weird little bubble that's going on. I mean, there is a big plant, I believe, in Southern Illinois, so that could be coloring the local market here. But either way, used to be Teslas for days. You still see a lot of Teslas, obviously, but now for every 3 or 4 Teslas, you're starting to see a Rivian pop in there, which was unheard of not that long ago. A Wednesday, we got Uber and the Diz and Carvana and DoorDash. Carvana, easy for me to say. Carvana and DoorDash listeners. And then Thursday, we've got Peloton, as the Brits say, Peloton, Crocs, Coinbase, DraftKings, and TKO. Will they actually make a profit this time? They grossed about, $3 billion last year, I believe, and they profited less than $6 million. TKO on Thursday, listeners. Interesting stuff. You think you can get away with that, listeners? Could you gross $3 billion and only take home less than $6 million? You think the IRS wouldn't be knocking on your door if that was you? Either way, TKO, let's see what they got in store for us on Thursday. As we keep on rolling, it's time to get weird. It is time for the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
All right, everybody, let's get weird, let's get wild, let's get odd. Uncle Mike, it's been a while since you got odd with us. Do you remember how all of this fun works, sir?
I will do my best.
All right. All right, we will see, listeners, as we keep on rolling out to our first victim. This is CinemaMark, a.k.a. CNK. You know them, one of the theater chains out there. They've had some issues of late. $29.40, as most theater names have. $29.40 off about $1 today, or about 3% today. On the year, they've actually managed to recover nicely. They're up 73% on the year, $12.40. So a nice little turnaround that they were pretty much in the toilet. Though that said, Goldman maintains their sell rating and a $22 price target. So maybe by that argument, maybe they're a little lofty. But either way, nearly $30 for CinemaMark. So there you go, crawling and clawing their way out of the hole most theater chains are in. I went back to a theater this weekend. I haven't been in a movie theater in a while to check out the new Marvel movie, Thunderbolts. It's a fun one. Had a fun time out there. That had some of the elements of Marvel of old, which was fun to see. So if you're on the fence about going, you're like, I'm kind of done with the Marvel. This one's kind of fun. So go check it out. It's a good time out there. CNK is the ticker. And what do we got going on out there today, listeners? Somebody came in this morning with the stock at $29.37. Actually, it was at $29.58 when this order went up. And they said, July 32s, how are they? And they got 80 cents at 90. Again, a decently tight market for an out-of-the-money July call in CinemaMark. And they said, you know what? I will trade 3,300 of those bad boys, a penny off your offer at 89 cents. Obviously, they got a little bit of price improvement out there. There are no earnings in this cycle. The next announcement is right after this, August 1st, so they're kind of just missing it. This is an interesting one, given the fact that the stock has already been on a tear, expecting it to go north of the 32 handle by July and not having an earnings in that mix. Kind of interesting. You are buying some duration, so that's not the worst thing. It's not going out this Friday, at least. It's a 32 vol if you are wondering. Also, if you're wondering, the stock topped out at 36.28 back in December of last year. So it has broken through that 32 handle. It also got up to about $33 exactly around Valentine's Day. So it has gotten there in the past. Of course, if it gets to that level, again, these calls are pretty much just going to be break even. So you need this thing to go beyond that. So I don't know, Uncle Mike, what are your thoughts in general on the prospects for domestic theater chains? B, are you surprised that CinemaMark's had a 73% recovery year to date, or I should say from the past year? And then C, what are your thoughts on these July 32s for nearly 90 cents? Are you a buyer or are you sold to you?
If I had to pick, I'd probably be a seller if I had to pick one of the two. But with this, movie theaters are such a different world these days. It's not like you go there just for the big screen. You go there because you get the reclining chair, you get the unlimited butter on your popcorn. Movie theaters have become a lot more high end, and it seems like that's what the target that they're going for right now. The Overall, I think the traditional movie theater, I think it's kind of a thing of the past. So it just depends on how well they're going to go into the future with how they're going to keep up with the times. So I couldn't even tell you the last time I was in. I think it might have been to see Star Wars Episode 9, might have been the last time I was even in a movie theater, now that I think about it. Or no, it was to see Top Gun Maverick, actually. And I think that what the buyer is hoping for is that it'll rally into the anticipation of earnings, because obviously they won't be in earnings. So they're hoping for a lot of rally and anticipation of big earnings, apparently.
I think they're hoping for another sweet popcorn bucket to come out and take the world by storm and carry that stock. I'm guessing half of that rally is just popcorn bucket fervor. What do you think, Uncle Mike?
It's all about the melted butter, baby.
It's all about that Dune popcorn bucket and whatever other hot popcorn buckets. It was a fun popcorn bucket, I will say, for the Thunderbolts. It's like the limo the guy drove around. I was tempted by it just for sheer silliness, listeners. But I did not partake. As we keep on rolling, let's go out to, this is a newcomer to the Odd Block. This is Gray Media Inc., ticker symbol GTN. This is a television broadcasting company out of Atlanta. They own 180 stations across the U.S. They're known also as Gray Communications. $3.86, up about 14 cents today. Again, ticker symbol GTN. Has it been a good year to be in the television broadcast business? The answer is a resounding no. They're off nearly $3, or about 43% on the year. That said, they did bottom out around $2.91 back in December. So glass half full, they're up nearly $1 from there, about 90 odd cents. They did also recently rally back in March to $5.19 before giving up the ghost back to $3.26. So this is a oddly volatile television broadcast name. Are they mixed up in some M&A? That's interesting. You don't think, television broadcast names getting buffeted by the winds of a trade war, for example, but kind of an interesting name, not one we've really talked about before. We'll have to dig in a little bit longer out here, a little bit more. But today's paper, listener, somebody came in and said, you know what? Let's not mess about with these Friday or even June or July calls. Nove, how are the Nove 5s looking? And they got, as you would expect for an out of the money call in November in Gray Communication, they got 20 cents at 50. So kind of a rough one, but I get it. They said, you know what, good sir, I shall pay 50 cents, 2,275 times out there, listeners. The vol, that's about a 65 vol. The stock was a tick higher at the time. It was $3.98, so they only needed $1.02 to make these calls make sense. But still, that's a bit of a run. They will know more, Uncle Mike. They will know more by the end of this week. Earnings are on May 8th, so maybe that changes your calculus a little bit. Going to get a couple announcements in the lifespan of this. Still, you're paying well over 10% of the value of the stock for a call that could be going the way of the dodo in November. Mr. Uncle Mike, what say you?
I mean, I would not. This would be in my category of stocks for crazy people, and I would not mess with it because I think it sounds like it's a stock for a crazy person. But if I'm going to go with something that's this much movement, I would not be a seller. I would be a buyer. And I would probably be a spreader in some way, shape, or form. So unless there's a lot of other options that are tied to this or other positions that are tied to this, I can't say that I'm a fan.
Stocks for crazy people. I like it. Well, listeners, you know what? We're all crazy because we all love a little bit of the strategy block. So let's get to it.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the Strategy Block.
All right, Uncle Mike, the floor is yours. You got 10 minutes to ruminate on all things Gray Communications, sir.
Well, I mean, I have some sad news that I want to share for the Strategy Block today, and it's just came across my screen as we were talking, Mark, and A good friend of the network actually just passed away recently. Alex Jacobson, the Viceroy, passed away last Friday.
Really?
And yes, I just caught it right as you were talking. And so let's to go back to honor Alex Jacobson with the last one that we brought up in the odd block. Terrible stock. Shouldn't even be messing with options on $5 stocks and less. So we'll honor him with that. But
that one hurts. He's a good friend of the show. Obviously, listeners, if you're a newer listener, he was a big part of this show for a long time. He was part of the OX/Schwab contingent that joined us on the show for quite some time. He was in the network. Wow. I almost think we should just devote the rest of the strategy block to memories of the Viceroy. Wow.
That's what I want to do. And I mean, it hurts because I literally just saw it across my screen as you were talking earlier. And Alex was a friend of mine. Alex, he came to my 40th birthday party. He was at my house, and I been to his house before and met his family. And probably one of my favorite memory about Alex I've shared on this show before is that in my early days of Options Express, I'm out doing a presentation in Florida at some conference, and Alex is in the audience. And I'm presenting, and so I'm kind of nervous about it because I knew Alex was a very big player at the ISE, the International Securities Exchange. And for those of us, now I guess I'm an old timer, that know what the ISE actually did for electronic trading, they really changed the world in a lot of ways with what they did. And Alex was a major part of that. And so here I am up on stage, a brand new job at Options Express. The first time they let me go on the road by myself, and I got Alex Jacobson in the audience, this big wig from the ISE, and I'm scared out of my wits. And so I'm going through the presentation. Alex was totally rude to me, and he's just ripping apart everything that I'm saying. He basically just ripped me to shreds. I'm doing everything that I can to save face up there. And so at the end of this, I don't know what to do because no one ever said anything in an audience ever. He just happened to be at this presentation, and he puts his arm around me. He said, just so you know, your boss from Options Express put me up to doing all that. You handled it like a champ. If you can handle this, you can handle anything in this business going forward. And he was so amazing to me after that. Whenever I had questions on option trading or just anything, he was there for me in terms of I could always call him and just ask him, hey, what do you think of this strategy? What do you think of that strategy? We did a lot of events through the years. He was so kind-hearted to the business, to me in particular. And gonna miss you, Alex. Thanks for everything, buddy.
Damn, that one hurts. We still talk about him all the time on this show. We just talked about him last week. The Rock Lobster was on. Doesn't even have to be on this show. And whenever we talk about a cheap stock, everyone's like, oh, the Viceroy wouldn't like that. Yes, he had the nickname of the Viceroy, listener. He loved it. He very much enjoyed having a nickname. He loved when people would come up to him outside of the show and call him the Viceroy. It would make his day. He loved being a part of the show, like few others did. This is going to hit a lot of people. I know Henry Schwartz, the Flow Master, he's about as big of Alex Jacobson fan as I know. Whenever Alex was on the network or did a pro Q&A, Henry was in the chat listening and watching. So yeah, this one's going to hit a lot of people. I think I first encountered Alex at the ISC at the same time. It was in the early days of Options Insider. Obviously, he had been in the business for decades before that, listeners. But we were just starting up Options Insider, and he was the educator on staff at ISE. He was one of the last of the real options educators at the exchanges in this entire business. I defy you to go find an exchange now that has an educator on staff. Yasibo has the Options Institute, so they have a couple there. Whether they're staffing that up or not, I don't know. They just have a big celebration of a milestone for that. But Alex was, to me, really one of the last options educators in this business. An exchange actually employed someone to teach you how to trade options. Imagine that, listener. Imagine that. What a wild thing. I've gotten on all the exchange. I'm going to do that again. In honor of Alex, I'm going to do that again when I go down to OIC this week. Put all the exchanges' fees to the fire saying, why aren't you spending more money? And why aren't you putting more effort into educating people? It's more important, you could argue, than ever more people are trading these products than ever. I'm glad Alex got to see in his final days, he got to see this modern incarnation of the options market. Because we always used to joke, man, we want people to join the options market and spread the word, and more people, younger people, to get involved in this space. We didn't realize they're all going to come at once. And I'm glad Alex got to see these incredible volume numbers, incredible things. A lot of it was carried on the back of his work. He, of course, created the Idea Hub over there at OX, which was a popular feature at the time. It did what everyone wants in the option space. It was an idea generation tool that would help you find puts to write and calls to write and premium to buy. A great thing. I haven't messed around with the modern Schwab I think I know a lot of those Schwab tools kind of got bumped down in favor of the TOS stuff. So I'm not sure if the Idea Hub is still running. It should be, if for no other reason than as a legacy of Alex Jacobson. So yeah, that one hits. I just saw that myself, Uncle Mike, and yeah, it's kind of throwing me for a loop. Looks like he passed away of pancreatic cancer. So if you are willing and able, maybe we'll share this link for his obituary out there. And so it looks like they're asking for donations to pancreatic cancer. I will be making one in honor of the Viceroy. I hope you will as well. Just a big part of this network, a big part of this show. And yeah, that one.
He touched everybody in this bit, because everybody knows everybody in this business for the most part, or at least you're one person away. I'm willing to bet that there's not anyone in this business that, I'm not saying I know everyone, but I at least know someone who knows them. Everybody knows Alex, and Alex was just a class act all the way. I mean, if Alex is speaking, you drop everything and you go listen to him talk. And man, this one hurts. Not gonna lie, folks.
Yeah, I was gonna do Around the Block. I don't know if I even have it in me now, Uncle Mike.
I don't.
That one, I might just play the music because that one's kind of a gut punch, listeners. A big part of this show, big part of this network. He was in this studio for our first ever live episode. You remember that, Uncle Mike? We had pizza.
I was there.
We had pizza, and it was awesome. We had just fired up the live for the first time. And Alex was here, man. That one sucks, listeners. I knew he wasn't in the best of health. He always had health issues, but he always seemed to rally. And yeah,
he did.
Yeah, that one just kind of sucks, listeners. So yeah, that said, I don't know what else I have to add, Uncle Mike. Just for the rest of the show, Viceroy is awesome. We will R.I.P. Viceroy. We will definitely miss you here on this show and on the network. We will tweet out the link to his obituary so you folks can see what we're talking about. If you're a newer listener, you owe it to yourself and to him to maybe go back and check out some of the archive. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll make a playlist of the best of the Viceroy. What do you think, Uncle Mike?
I would love that. I mean, I wish we got it on tape, but there was one time where he got all wound up at a presentation, and he's literally up on stage. He said, if you bought those calls at that price, you should be hitting yourself in the head right now. He's literally hitting himself in the head. And he had a way with audiences. Never seen anybody like him.
Yes.
Best speaker ever in this business. He's the best.
Yes, Viceroy, we will all miss you. I'll have to go see if if they already had his service. Unfortunately, we'll be heading out of town. Oh, it's coming up this Wednesday. I will be down. That's the whole options industry is going to be out of town for his funeral. That doesn't seem right. That's well, yeah, that one stings, listeners. Hopefully, go out. That's another reminder. Go out there, hug your loved ones, give them a kiss, tell them how much they mean to you. You know, it sounds maudlin, but you never know when these things can strike. That one sucks, listeners. So we will R.I.P. Viceroy. You're the best. We miss you. And we'll see you back here on Thursday, listeners, on another episode of The Option Block.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's MIXLR.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.